Wednesday, and you know what that means. Ringside Heat is on the air on News Talk Saga 960 AM, your favorite podcatcher, and Fridays on YouTube. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Lex Tan, host and producer of the show. You can follow me at Lex Tan Media, pardon my English, and you can also follow the show at Ringside_Heat, joined over here by our wrestling memorabilia expert, collector, etc., at Coca Collects Chico Nugent, who was able to get one of those WWE Elite figures of the
Ultimate Edition.
Ultimate Edition. Final Boss Rock with the People's Championship and whatever he wore on
night one.
Not one of WrestleMania. That is correct. That is right.
WrestleMania 40.
And kudos to Chico. He took his out of the box. I did not, and I highly doubt that I will for the foreseeable future. So kudos to you. Thank you for getting that figure for me.
Well, I mean, once I spotted it in stores, I knew I had to have it right away. I actually had pre-ordered it from Walmart.ca, but then when I was walking around a Walmart, I noticed there was a box that was talking about like Ultimate Edition figures. It wasn't put out yet, but I knew from forums that they were starting to spot that Final Boss WrestleMania 40 Ultimate Rock with the People's Championship belt in stores. So I was like, So while no one was looking, I pulled down the box from the top and opened it up, and sure enough, the Final Boss ×2. So you got one, I got one.
Very nice, very nice. So there it is. Another thing to add to the collection for the both of us as well. Another thing to be talking about later on in the show, because I last week, as we were just chilling off the air with myself, Colin, Jose, and Chico, we were having some rantings and ravings about the Final Boss and like, well, where the hell has he been, and his consistency and how that is pissing people off, including people on this show. But we will get into that a little bit later, especially because we want to start off the show by talking about the wrestlers that have been released by WWE this week, and we're going to run down the list of that right now. As we can see, we've got let's get that tab out here. There it is. WWE superstars released so far from the main roster: Braun Strowman, Dakota Kai, Shayna Baszler, Kaden Carter, and Katana Chance, who I still call Casey Catanzaro, because that's how I remember her from NXT, and also because of Wade Barrett of emphatically saying her name and very, very much enunciating Casey Catanzaro or Katie Catanzaro, whatever she's.
Casey Catanzaro.
Yes, there it is. It's
clearly you claim to know her by a certain name, but you can't even say it, dude. Come on.
Well, I mean, like Katana Chance, Casey Catanzaro, that's starting to that's starting to jumble up in my head a little bit these days. But
there you go.
Clearly, you can see where the linguistics things are happening in my brains. But NXT releases Javier Bernal, Aura Mensa, Wolfgang, Joe and Mark Coffey, no relation to Paul Coffey of the National Hockey League, Riley Osborne, Jakara Jackson, Eddie Thorpe, Gigi Dolan, and Cora Jade. Those two names, I actually am very dumbfounded by those ones over here because of a bunch of things we'll get into. But let's start off with talking about the main roster releases. Braun Strowman, I know he hasn't had a lot to do, but he's always somebody I think that put him out there, everybody's going to watch him anyway.
Well, I mean, he was an attraction in a similar vein to like a Big Show Paul White, or the late great Andre the Giant. You could always have him around in case you need to put the next guy over because he's such a big dude. And I think that sure, yeah, he didn't have much to do lately, but he's done a couple of really good stints of putting guys over. For instance, well, unfortunately he's injured right now, but Big Bronson Reed really benefited from a program with Braun Strowman.
Right.
And they did that really well. Like I guess last year it was kind of circulating on social media, big meat mountain men slapping meat or something like that. However, people like to put it, like Mark Henry and other people.
Mhm.
Basically, a lot of Haas fights, and they were good, man. They were good. It was, yeah, Braun Strowman putting over Bronson Reed in the end. I think they went back and forth a little. No,
Yeah, yeah, they did. I mean, like they had, it couldn't have been a squash because Braun Strowman is, the monster among men, or at least
or the
was.
monster of all monsters towards the end there. So
Yep, exactly. And so yeah, it kind of sucks that Strowman got let go by WWE a second time again. But hey, you know what? He's got its big name. He's got a big name. He's got a lot of gas in the tank and everything. So I mean,
now
he's still.
hold on, but does he though? Because I don't know if you noticed, but whenever he would do those runs around the ring, like chugging towards his opponent on the outside, it
Mhm.
kind of looked like he was on like bum knees or something, you know?
Possibly,
So I
possibly.
mean, he's no spring chicken either. He's not the oldest guy, but he's definitely far from the youngest dude among those names.
Hmm.
So he's to me a little closer to veteran status at this point.
Which is the reason
Um,
why I believe that, like, go into the indie circuit, get those autograph signings done, make those deals with the indies, with the indie promotions to, for whatever it is that you that you go. You can still tour the world. You can still be a fixture in the business and everything. You just won't be on the biggest stage of them all, but you're still going to make some good money because of the name Braun Strowman.
Yeah,
I'm
no,
sure.
you can apply that to a lot of names that you just read out on the list. Like for
Oh, for sure.
example, uh, Dakota Kai is a name on the main roster that I feel was quite underserved. Mind you, she did go through a few injuries through the past few years.
Mhm.
Um, but I think that she was a good hand to have on board, and I think that she was just cracking the mid card in terms of like title contention. I think it was very believable that she could have won the inaugural women's intercontinental championship. Like she was right there with Lyra. In fact, I think I would have rather had Dakota Kai be the first women's intercontinental champion. That's hindsight, and actually now this past Monday on Raw, Lyra is finally sounding like she's improving with her skills as well. But I really think that WWE kind of screwed up by letting Dakota Kai go again.
I think I think both the Kodakai and Lyra Valkyria would have benefited from a program with each other. Yes, I get it that, like, they want to have Lyra with Becky because they clearly see something. They clearly see that Becky can put her over,
Mm-hmm.
or and launch Becky herself into, like, let's say, being the next Paul Heyman girl or something like that. I don't know, but Kai, yeah, I think she could have. I totally think she should have stayed myself.
Now, my cousin Arvi and I, like, we each met Dakota Kai at WWE World at WrestleMania 40 in Philly, and she's such a sweetheart too.
Hmm.
So just to kind of have that personality around the locker room and to meet with fans, I think is kind of a loss for WWE. It's not like they don't have a bunch of really great personalities in their roster, even after all these releases. But I think Dakota Kai was one of those people that had a lot of name value. She's got a fierce following,
Hmm.
definitely.
Hmm.
And I honestly think that one was a mistake. I hope that Dakota Kai proves that that was a mistake and eventually comes back for a third stint in WWE, because I really think she could do it. Because I think she wouldn't be as well used in other settings. I mean, just because she's one of those people that I think also should work smarter, not harder, on account of the bunch of injuries that she did go through.
Hmm.
But I think WWE was just the right place for her. In terms of where I see her ending up, I kind of hope TNA,
Yeah.
just so she can kind of backdoor back into like NXT or the WWE main roster sometime, and then maybe eventually raise enough interest to come back across the line the other way. So
Hmm.
yeah, so Dakota Kai. I mean, again, like you said earlier, all the stuff about maxing it out in the indies, getting your merch together, like all of these things are pieces of advice given by the indie god himself, Matt Cardona, and he definitely put out that X post once that list of releases was announced. You can look it up and talk about it later after we get through all the names. But
Mhm.
he really gives some really good advice uh, through a couple of interviews the past few days, and through his post on X. Yeah, I mean Shayna Baszler. I mean, she could go to maybe Josh Barnett's Bloodsport, like that. I mean, she's been there already, so maybe she'll just do more things. But that's not really like a full time thing. It's more of like a few event shows through the
Yeah.
year. So
Yeah, and that's the thing too, is that like I just don't think that that Shayna Baszler herself. I honestly think that WWE wasn't the best thing for her. It was the biggest
agreed.
stage, yes, but I don't
Yeah,
think it was the best thing for her. I think she might have actually made a little bit more headway had she decided to go to AEW or something like that, or maybe she will go
maybe.
to. Maybe she will if she goes to AEW. Maybe she will have a little bit more headway over there because it's they're more as it is. They're more of they're more of the physical product, if you can even say that's even kind of a misnomer because look at I mean WWE has an amazing in-ring product and
Hmm.
amazing talent there, so it's just who would fit the system better. I would say Shayna Baszler probably didn't fit in the system as well. Kaiten Carter and Katana Chance, who I who yes, Casey Catanzaro,
Hmm. Hmm.
that
Of American Ninja Warrior fame originally.
And okay, Kaden Carter, I could see maybe like, okay, maybe she could be better utilized somewhere else. But
Yeah, but
Casey,
but Caden Carter, just to stop you there for a moment, as a Filipino, I was just kind of bummed that Caden Carter got ousted.
oh
You
yeah,
know,
well,
unfortunately, some representation has been lost in that sense. Like we're not totally gone in terms of Filipinos in WWE. I mean, Shotzi's contract's not renewed, so she's also gone. And to me, that's not as surprising, by the way.
mm,
But Caden Carter, maybe she could have had a chance to do something. But yeah, okay, that's just gonna pass for me too. Okay, so Casey Canzaro, you were saying.
yeah, she's again, yeah, American Ninja Warrior fame. I mean, like she's definitely on the had the eyes of Dwayne, basically, as a result of being in that sort of kind of world in in that
Mm-hmm.
way. But I always saw her as a good hand. I don't think that she had a chance to develop her character as much as she could have. But
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Wade Barrett put her over for me. So I think there's a little bit of my bias toward that there because of Barrett. But in terms of the NXT the NXT releases, the ones that dumbfounded me the most were Cora Jade and Gigi Dolan. Gigi,
Uh-huh.
I mean, like she's been developing well in the stable that she was that she was in with. She was in that in that stable
Toxic
with
Attraction. Yeah.
yeah, Toxic
So
Attraction.
Mandy and JC Jane.
Yes, exactly. And they had something really good going with that as well
Mm-hmm.
until like Mandy had to go her separate ways. And I mean it was almost like a kind of a would you as the TNA expert over here, would you would you say that's it is kind of the same kind of tropiness as the Beautiful People kind of thing?
No, not quite, because there's more a bit of a gothic flair to it too, and that was not a Beautiful People thing. Beautiful People was more like if you divided Tiffany Stratton in half and kind of made a tag team,
Oh geez.
or
Okay.
something like that, like more closer to like a Barbie girl type of thing.
Mm,
That kind of thing. Not quite Valley Girl, but just like Mean Girls, Mean Girl snobs.
right.
That's what the Beautiful People were. So Gigi Dolan, I guess, will now go back to her previous indie name of Priscilla Kelly, and Cora Jade going back to Elena Black, of course, officially.
Hmm.
Gigi, to me, was also a waste because her tag team chemistry with Tatum Paxley lately was pretty good,
Mm,
and they do have, a certain pair of belts called the WWE Women's Tag Team Championship, and I guess it goes to show you how little the company values actual tag teams. Because, I mean, they let Carter and Chance go, and that's always good hands for tag team division.
mm,
And same with Gigi Dolan and Tatum Paxley. I mean, I don't know how much longer Tatum has to go with her run, and now that she has to kind of go back to singles mid card action in NXT.
Hmm.
But I really think like they had a cool finishing move too, uh, like she and Gigi Dolan and Tatum Paxley. So I mean, to me, that was another waste. You know, she's been through AEW before. Well, to be fair, has Elena Black, but I think Gigi should have been kept on. I think she had a certain trajectory too.
Hmm.
I mean,
But
she could always go back and feud with JC Jane eventually, you know.
yeah.
Yeah, and then yeah, like you say, I don't know if you're about to go into Cora Jade's release
Oh,
because that's.
definitely.
Go
Oh,
ahead,
definitely
man.
was going to go to Cora Jade because um, we were talking about this the other day as well. That it it can that's the one that doesn't make that makes the least sense to me because of the fact that she was somebody who was crossing over between WWE and TNA on a regular basis and
Hmm.
was getting a really good push. She has
Hmm.
also been, I mean, other than being like one of the more one of the more attractive people on the roster,
Yeah.
as well, at least in my opinion,
Yeah.
at least in my opinion, and but of course, looks aren't everything. She's been improving in her in-ring abilities. She's been
Yeah.
improving her in-ring her character of Cora Jade as well.
Yep.
And she's been paired up with she was paired off over the last few months with Roxanne Perez, and being paired up with Roxanne really elevated her as well.
Yeah.
I mean, it's yes, it was still Roxanne who was the star of a lot of those segments there, but you could actually see some of that badassery, especially going out against the big contenders as well, like taking that lead pipe and taking out and taking out Julia and Stephanie Vaquer and about to and Roxanne, but Roxanne's like whoa, right? And yeah, it just seemed that she had this great trajectory going on, that she could have built on now that Roxanne is more is main roster, or has become main roster. It's just um it was almost it was a nice thing that WWE allowed her to come to Las Vegas, basically.
Yeah. You know what it was
But
too, man.
at the same
Well,
time, at the same time, a little bit of a bittersweet thing now, if you think
yeah.
about it.
So for
So.
Cora Jade, yeah, there was so much good stuff happening with her. Uh, of course, the caveat there is she has spent a significant amount of time away due to injury. You know, like I think it was her knee or something. There was stuff that kept her away for many months. You know, maybe
Mhm,
even a year. But yeah, before that, you're saying being paired up over the past few months with Roxanne. How about the past few years?
mhm,
The two of them had a good friends into bitter enemies feud. Uh, when Roxanne was sort of on the tail end of her face run, and Cora Jade became a heel at her expense, and the two of them just like they had really good chemistry against each other. And
yeah,
then so when Roxanne had turned heel while Cora was away, and then Cora eventually came back, they came back together, but this time as bad guys together. So
mhm,
like even that had good chemistry too. And then yeah, like you say, the exchanges she had with TNA talent, it went really well, so I think the upward trajectory, like I've said a few times now with some of these talent, was there, and she was developing like anyone should in a developmental system in pro wrestling. So I think that honestly, to get rid of her but to keep certain other talents around, that to me don't have as much momentum or even charisma, or like closer to the total package kind of thing that Cora Jade would have. It's very perplexing. Like you, I'm just scratching my head over the release of Cora Jade, man. Like
mhm,
I think for me the two, like if I had to pick one from the main roster and one from NXT, it would be Dakota Kai from the main roster and it would be Cora Jade from NXT.
mhm.
Those two, oh man, I really hope they make their way back to the company because I think that they will be good for WWE in the future, should
Mhm.
they come back.
Now, who would you have traded instead? Let's say you kept
Trades.
yeah, let's say you kept Cora Jade, you kept Dakota Kai. Who would you have released instead of those two?
I don't want to like get into any like online like spats with anybody, not that Not that anybody would seek me out for that, but uh so Jakara Jackson was one of the people let go, right?
Yes.
I don't really like her tag team partner Lash Legend either. So letting her go would to me would have made a little more sense if I got to
Mm-hmm.
keep Cora Jade. If I got to keep Gigi Dolan, then maybe let go of, and this is a real controversial one, Jada Parker.
Mm.
I just don't get that much from Jada Parker in terms of like the moves stuff, like the move set.
Right.
Not my favorite. So I don't know, man. It's just a weird situation. I'm pretty sure that uh, that Jada Parker has her own following and everything, and people would definitely fight me on that. But yeah, Cora Jade should not have been let go, man. Neither should Dakota Kai.
Oh yeah, for sure. And that's the thing. It's also they were those two at least. They're the ones who were standing out a little bit more out of the the standout roster that they already have,
Yeah,
especially like when like you're going toe to toe with Stephanie Vaquer
Julia
and Julia exactly
and
like
Zarya now too,
yep
and
and
Sol Ruka. There's just so many good ones.
yeah, and Cora Jade was I think was a great part of that mix there.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, they had her match on March the 5th. She couldn't continue the match because of her knee or whatever like that. So yes, it is a little bit of a tough a tough break that way. But uh, there are ways to work around it. Unfortunately, we're just gonna have to wait and see how Cora's career, or at least Elena Black's career, will be coming. Will come full circle back into WWE. Who knows where she'll be, as well as the rest of these people over here that unfortunately got released from WWE. But hey, you know what? The business is cyclical, not cynical, but
Well, it makes me
too.
cynical after a
Yeah.
while. Yeah.
But yeah, all the best on their future endeavors, and all the best to you on the future endeavors as you listen to these commercials. When we come back after these commercial considerations, we will talk about the troubling tribulations of the Rock. Yeah, I couldn't find any good alliterations at the
Troubling
moment there.
tribulation.
Ringside Heat. We'll be back after these messages.
Under all the lights, with only everyone, he's looking for one single face.
And welcome back to Ringside Heat on News Talk Saga 960 AM. Lex Tan alongside Chico Newgate. We're talking about wrestling on the radio here. And you can always follow us on YouTube, on Instagram, on X, Facebook, TikTok, Threads, and Patreon on at ringside_heat. And also a couple of upcoming things here. I actually will finally start getting back into the business of calling wrestling matches on May the 16th over in Oshawa for Unified Pro Wrestling. Friend of the show, Egan Price, he's finally putting on his first Unified Pro show in a few months. So so kudos to him, and everybody's going to be involved. You'll see our friends on the Indies, Clash Kincaid, Full Donovan, and others as well. Hopefully Andrew Love will be there. Hopefully AC Fitz will be able to make an appearance as well. And he called me out online earlier today. So AC, I got you. I see you, and we are going to have some words. If not, but I can't throw down. Apparently, Andrew Love and Clash Kincaid won't let me throw down because I can't take bumps properly. Anyway,
So many names dropped. You just involved so many people just now.
oh yes, I did.
Oh,
well,
boy.
I mean, like, how many names did we drop in the last segment?
I'm talking about people you personally know and will be at shows with. So good luck, buddy.
True. I mean, here's somebody that I wish that I wish we didn't have to throw down in the gauntlet with over here is that, and and honestly, when the heck are we ever going to see this guy face to face anyway? I mean, the last time I saw his effigy was over in New York at Madame Tussauds. Him and his final boss, the wax figure over there too, which you apparently have as well out of the box. Big there's a lot of frustration amongst the wrestling community, and I know particularly with you and Colin as well, Chico, about Dwayne and his inconsistency in his involvement with the product. And I want you to start this off and rant about it because I know I've got things on my mind as well, but I want to hear what you have to say first.
I thought you were gonna introduce the topic a little more detailed than that, but okay, let me just scramble here and see. The Rock, The Rock, dawdling Dwayne himself, making stuff up on the go. I think this all stems from a lot of displeasure or just lack of payoff on the WrestleMania 41 night 2 show closing main event for the weekend. And sorry, not the weekend like the singer, but like just the final match needed the final boss. Because well, I guess this all kind of picked up steam from Toronto's Elimination Chamber PLE March the 1st, right? So
Right.
The Rock goes into it wanting Cody's soul and wants an answer from Cody. And then, of course, we see instead, upon Cody's refusal, John Cena hugs him. The final boss gives a throat-slashing gesture to John Cena behind Cody's back. And Cena could be kind of perceived as selling his soul instead. But then, since then, by the way, Travis Scott was involved in that, and like
but we don't want to talk.
legit. No, hold on.
But we don't
I gotta include him just a tiny bit in passing.
Okay, yes.
Travis Scott did land a shot at Cody's face that he was not supposed to, beyond the kayfabe. Of course, it gave the moment some extra color and credibility. So whatever, it's neither here nor there at this point for me. But anyway, fast forward, and as we get to WrestleMania, no sign of The Rock, like totally missing, right? And then we get to WrestleMania itself after the many masterful promos from John Cena, although it was starting to feel a little bit like just the same stuff for a few weeks between him and Cody, because you needed The Rock to add a little bit more. He was connected to it from the heel turn.
Oh, yeah,
so,
for sure.
Yeah, so anyway, we get to WrestleMania 41, yada, yada, night 2. We've talked about this before, but yeah, Travis Scott comes out, right? So
No
immediately, first of all, he just took way too long. Immediately, the expectation was if you have Travis Scott out there, then you're going to want to follow him with The Rock. Or even if Dwayne didn't show up physically, he could have explained it like he called the monkeys in the truck and asked them to hit his music and distract Cody. He could have done even that, right? Anything Rock related, but nothing. Just nothing. And not even a physical payoff for Travis Scott's errant shot. So it was just like Cena did his darndest to sell the whole bad guy thing, and it was still a very good match. I'll maintain that. Up to the point of Travis Scott walking out. Then the finish just kind of collapsed and fell flat. Anyway, so The Rock tried to explain himself on the Pat McAfee show, and he goes like ultra behind the curtain. He says many, many things. He said, I did feel, and I made the call. I don't want to be involved in that, meaning like the WrestleMania, basically anything after Elimination Chamber, he says. So he claims. He said, I don't want to be involved in that. Let the final boss step back into the shadows. Let all the spotlight go to John and Cody. Let's not make it about Cody's soul or John's soul. Let's let them do what they do. Dude,
see,
that in itself. Just ruining kayfabe. Let me just continue here, man.
Okay.
Yeah, so he said that, and he said he said in that rant on Pat McAfee that he went on that he also kind of wanted to see Cody Rhodes turn heel at some point. Not right now, but we could revisit it. Like he just opened the curtain so wide, and I know that kayfabe is pretty much dead in this day and age, but like if I go to a magic show, I don't want you to slap me in the face with the fact that here's the trick. Like it just ruins the entertainment value of it. It makes me not want to invest in it next time.
Mm-hmm.
So that's it. In a manner of speaking, that's what he did in my impression of what he did. He even said, like, oh, okay, here's some of the other stuff that kind of, he said, like, I called John, I called Cody, like, he even said he called Cody, like that also made me mad. He said, referring to the WrestleMania match again, Dwayne said they had 6 weeks to plan for that. I loved the finish of the match. I would have finessed things a little differently on how they got there, but that's just me creatively. So, in one interview, he managed to frustrate people with the inconsistent gimmick. He managed to also throw Triple H under the bus and separate himself from the impression, the negative impression of that main event. He said, "I would have finessed things a little bit differently." So right there, he's not putting up a unified front with the front office and with the higher ups. He's saying, yeah, he separated himself from it, and then he put Triple H and company under the bus. So it was a damage control attempt by The Rock, but it just ended up being BS word salad. And then, so I'm sorry to ramble on about this, but
No, go
basically,
ahead.
let's fast forward a little bit. And on Busted Open Radio, Dave LaGreca, the host and creator of the show, went on a pretty epic rant about it. But it wasn't one of those rants of his where he's just kind of going off like an old dude, like an old codger. He had many, many, many valid points, and a lot of people supported him over it. And then, in an astounding moment, The Rock actually responded to the video of the rant of Dave LaGreca, like going off on this whole Pat McAfee aftermath of WrestleMania, where Dwayne was trying to do damage control. So,
Mhm.
can I read that? Is that okay?
Go. Yeah, that's
So,
fine. That's
just the comment that Dwayne said. Okay, this
Yeah.
is The Rock, definitely. He said, "Hi, Dave. The business is a complete work. Always has been, always will be. Every aspect of it, every match, every interview. Please join me, Cody, Cena, Brian, as in Brian Gewirtz, and the rest of us for our creative discussions so you can expand your perspective. Until then, stop ranting. It's not healthy, my friend. Enjoy the show." And then he shouts out Bubba Ray because Bubba Ray is one of the co-hosts there as well.
Of course. Yeah.
So not only did he fail in an epic fashion on Pat McAfee to do damage control, and he managed to just anger people or annoy people at the very least, he also is saying, if you have an opinion about it as a fan, just shut up. What?
Mm-hmm. It's I will vault off on that point right there, actually, because something very similar in the National Hockey League happened just a couple of days ago.
Okay, hold on. No, I know I don't want to stop your momentum, but it's just one point I wanted to make about that. I think I'm starting to better understand what gaslighting means. Dwayne, full of gaslighting the past few weeks. Go on.
Yes. And you know what? As I said, that's something very similar happened as well. I mean, to star goaltender, number one goaltender for the Toronto Maple Leafs, Anthony Stolarz, who had concussion symptoms after receiving a headshot from from one of the Florida Panthers opponents in Game 1 of the NHL playoffs, and a lot and there's a lot and a lot of people have been saying that have been calling out whatever the referees or the or NHL player safety, and there's a lot of people as well saying the same thing that Dwayne has said, as that oh yeah, you're not an expert, blah blah blah, you're not a referee, you're not in the game of hockey, you don't have an opinion, your opinion doesn't matter, it doesn't matter basically, and it's no, we can call this out, because just because we're not involved in that world doesn't mean we don't know what's good and bad in the product or in the competition that we're seeing right now. We don't there's a a reputation that this guy Sam Bennett has for being a very, very dirty player and injuring people, and very intentionally, but gets away with it because nobody takes him to task for it, basically, and that's a fault of the league. And now with this, what you're saying with Dwayne is that, like, he's now, nobody's going to be taking Dwayne to task, because again, that's the same kind of the start of the same kind of argument you have with Tony Khan. How do you talk to a billionaire and tell him he's wrong, right? And I mean, Triple H, God bless him, because, like, he could have been the one to even say that, like, what, no, this is the side of the story over here. This is what actually happened from our perspective. So here, you can have this information. You have Dwayne's information. Go decide for yourself. He could have said that, but he hasn't said anything, because guess what? He's busy running the damn show. And
also, like, what a petty thing to comment on LaGreca's rant like that, in that way. Like, he doesn't. Well, first of all, kudos to Bust It Open, because wow, The Rock actually took a minute to respond.
I mean, yeah.
In that way to it. So kudos to them. LaGreca's really built that show up to what it is today. Hopefully someday we can be on their Busted Open 24/7 if they achieve it. That'd be kind of cool. Anyway, just Dwayne was, I know that there are ways to try and innovate kayfabe. We talk about kayfabe 2.0 on the show, right? I like whatever we coined that term as, but like, basically using all of these things. He said it, right? Like, even every interview, it's a work, right? That's fine. And what?
We know it's a work.
Yes, exactly. You don't have to slap my face with it like that. Not in that way. I think it's highly disrespectful. I think it's disrespectful to the boys in the back. When I mean the boys, I mean all the wrestlers. I mean, just like, it's so maddening to me. And I never thought I'd have legitimate, like, negative feelings towards Dwayne Johnson, but he's achieved it. I am very annoyed with him, very frustrated, and I guess wrestling fandom is so effed and collecting is so effed, because I mean, I still bought his Ultimate Edition figure from WrestleMania 40, so whatever. But in terms of the current state of things, I mean, like, it all started for me at the Netflix debut on January 6th, at the Intuit Dome, when Dwayne, like, when Dwayne little broed Cody by having him sit at the audience while The Rock was in the ring, and then he toasted, like, Terramano with him too. Like, he killed so many things in that one night. And then he put the Ulafala on Roman Reigns' head, like, over his head, and crowned him with it. So there goes that storyline. Just, there's so many things in the last 4 months that The Rock has ruined. And even when he says they can go back to it, well, like, I don't know how you're going to do this. It would have to be a super genius master stroke. And I hope that's exactly what happens. But he really, like, put a huge stumbling block into what could have been beautiful payoffs with the bloodline and with Cody. Now, because now he just, like, puts it out there, and then just, I guess, to kind of, well, to be divergent a little bit, or to branch off this point a little bit, I am not looking forward to WWE Unreal on Netflix this summer, because I think that's going to peel the curtain back way too much. But I'm still going to take a look at it. Plus, we're probably going to have to talk about it on the show. So anyway, Dwayne, what the heck, man? Just know your role and shut your mouth.
And on that note, we will actually go into break, because we have a couple of shows coming up this weekend that we're gonna have to talk about, and we want to talk about, because I mean, we've got the return of professional wrestling, of the brand of Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling to Maple Leaf Gardens for the first time in what, decades now?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I mean, yes, there are a couple of wrestling shows that have happened at Mattamy Athletic Center now, or formerly known as Maple Leaf Gardens, but none under the Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling brand, and its predecessor, Maple Leaf Wrestling, for decades, because of because of the WWE and their and the tunnies, etc., etc., etc. So that's a momentous thing, and as well. WWE Backlash in St. Louis is featuring John Cena and Randy Orton in the main event, one of whom we were talking about over this segment. But we will come back and talk about those after these promotional considerations.
Under all the lights, with only everyone, he's looking for one single face.
And welcome back to Ringside Heat on News Talk Saga 960 AM, your favorite podcatcher, and on YouTube, Lextan at Lextan Media, Ringside Heat at Ringside_Heat on all of our social media platforms, YouTube, Instagram, X, Facebook, Threads, TikTok, and Patreon. And of course, we've got as well our wrestling memorabilia expert at Coco Collects, Chico Nugid, two-man ring crew here today. Two big shows coming up this weekend. One big in of course, the grand stage of the professional wrestling circles in WWE Backlash, and a big show here in the heart of Toronto, Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling at Maple Leaf Gardens this coming Saturday. And first off, let's go and quickly look at the WWE Backlash card. 5 matches have been announced so far. Dominic Mysterio putting up the Intercontinental Championship against Penta. I don't think Penta's going to win that one. I think Dominic's going to have a nice long run with this title because he deserves it.
Agreed, or at least longer than a few weeks.
Yeah. Jacob Fatu, LA Knight, Damian Priest, Drew McIntyre for Jacob Fatu's United States Championship. I highly doubt that LA Knight will get it back, and I highly doubt that Damian Priest or Drew McIntyre will get it either. So I'm gonna give the win to Fatu here.
Yeah, agreed, man. Samoan Werewolf, just all gas, no brakes.
Mm-hmm. Gunther versus Pat McAfee. Gunther's taking this one. He's not
squash.
Yep. Pat McAfee is not going to survive this match. He's going to be off TV for a while because and I know that Jose a couple of weeks ago kind of squashed my idea over here, my idea. But I think this is going to be the way for Pat McAfee to just focus some time on playoff season right now because the NBA, the NHL playoffs are getting hot.
Yeah. So, are there any football related things for him to go do?
I don't know. I don't follow. I
don't follow football either. Yeah.
I don't follow football.
So, playoffs and other sports are getting hot. And his show, the Pat McAfee show, I think it's pretty much the number 1 sports talk show now.
Yeah.
They are going to get pretty dang busy.
Mm-hmm. I mean, hey, you know what? Stephen A. Smith had his day, and now it's Pat McAfee's day. And I think that's, and I think we're actually all better for it. Anyway,
hey, speaking of days. Happy Rusev Day.
That's right. Happy Rusev Day to all of our listeners here on Saga 960, your favorite podcatcher, and on YouTube. Lyra Valkyria and Becky Lynch for the WWE Women's Intercontinental Championship. That's a toss-up for me. What do you think?
Oh, my goodness. This one is kind of a weird one for me, too. I mean, you could go Becky dethroning Lyra and then going into a feud defending it against Bayley. Or you could have Bayley costing Becky, and then the two of them could go into their feud after that. And then Lyra goes on to defend her IC title afterwards, too. I'm going to pick Lyra Valkyria for the win with some shenanigans involving Bayley.
Okay. Yeah, I was gonna go with Lyra. I don't think Becky would have. I think Becky would have put her over if there were no shenanigans. However, however that could have, because I think that's the way that Becky gathers even more anger and more heat in order to become a Paul Heyman girl. John Cena versus Randy Orton for the WWE Undisputed Championship. Randy, I don't believe he's going to go and get his 15th title against John Cena. Not this time.
No, I don't think so either. I think this one belongs to Cena.
Even though it is in Randy's hometown.
Yeah, I think it's going to be an epic match. I'm hoping. But I wouldn't be too surprised if it ends up in some sort of shenanigans at the end as well. I don't know. Maybe it's just Cena being a heel using heel moves, and perish the thought, could there be a Travis Scott appearance?
I'd like to see a Cody appearance helping out Randy Orton.
There you go. I'd rather have that. No Travis Scott, please. Thank you.
And then we also have MLPW also happening on Saturday. So here's some of the matches here that one of the matches I'm looking forward to is Miyu Yamashita and Serena Deeb. First of all, Serena Deeb is always going to be is always going to have an amazing match in my eyes and everything. But I don't know Miyu Yamashita, and I'd like to get to know her a little bit better.
Yeah, no, Serena Deeb is known as the professor in some wrestling circles for a reason. I mean, I wish we would have gotten to see more of that when she was in the WWE, but now, I mean, she's garnered legendary status anyway, despite the straight edge society gimmick that she went through, and then just kind of faded away and became obsolete from the WWE perspective. Anyway, not to allude to anybody else's gimmick, Anyway, delete that comment. So I think that this one is definitely going to go to Miyu Yamashita because I think that she is an up-and-comer in the global wrestling landscape. And don't be too surprised if you see her in an AEW or even an NXT someday. Mm-hmm. She sounds like one of those names that's being tossed around more and more these days.
Mm-hmm. Josh Alexander and QT Marshall. I think Josh is going to take this one. QT is one of those guys who's going to just put him over.
Agreed. QT, God bless him, but I mean, it's Josh Alexander's time.
Mm-hmm. Speedball Mike Bailey versus Gabe Kidd versus Michael Oku. I only know Speedball really, but hey, you know what? I'm always up for a good Speedball Mike Bailey match because he's just awesome. I've actually seen him wrestle live myself, not just in TNA but on the Indies as well. So I mean, like I'm always looking forward to a Speedball match.
Yeah, I have no picks there either. I think it's going to be a banger.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. We've interesting thing over here. Caught my attention. Smiley Kylie Ray versus Giselle Shaw for the MLP Women's Canadian Championship. As far as I understand it, and as you confirmed with me over the break, that she is currently under contract with the WWE under WWE ID and also the Evolve brand. So I know I shouldn't be surprised about this, but I find it interesting. I find it actually very surprising that, again, old brain here, that WWE is allowing Kylie Ray to wrestle not within the TNA partnership, but outside of that partnership and into an indie promotion like MLPW, and with Scott and under the promotion of Scott D'Amore.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you could call that a bit of a, an opening of a forbidden door. Oops, I mean, maybe an unsanctioned passageway of some sort.
Wow. Okay. There's the next WWE pay-per-view for you. WWE unsanctioned passageway.
Wow.
And we've also got that 20-man battle royale, and that's going to include such participants as Raj Desi, formerly known as Jinder Mahal, Bishop Dyer, who has earned the name Bishop Dyer, and
well, he's now one of the rotating hosts of Busted Open too, so I hear him quite a bit. He just seems like such a relatable dude, man. And I used to hate the Baron Corbin stuff, Oh,
of course, and I'm the sad Corbin you loved though.
Yeah, absolutely. He played pathetic guy really well.
Badass Billy Gunn's gonna be there. Thankfully, with I mean, as entertaining as his friends are over in AEW, I like seeing Billy Gunn as is Billy Gunn. So
it's one of those weird cases. Sorry to interrupt, but Billy Gunn, yes, he's under contract with AEW and he helps train a lot of their talent backstage. But it's interesting to me that he's still like, I guess, I don't know if it's a Tony Khan like allowing him to do this kind of thing, but I think he still has like a WWE Legends contract because they are like Mattel is about to make an action figure of the Smoking Guns era of Billy Gunn. So,
jeez,
yeah, which was like to me when they announced it around WrestleMania weekend, I'm like, doesn't he work for Tony Khan still? So I mean, and that's not the first time that Billy Gunn's had an action figure in the past few years that he has been working under the AEW umbrella. So that's a weirdly specific case. I guess it's because he's really close to Triple H. Maybe he has certain exemptions from like in his contract. I don't know.
Well, I mean, according to a guy that threw Triple H under the bus. I mean, it doesn't matter what his name is, Bob. Anyway,
Dwayne
uh,
again.
Matt Cardona's going to be in the match as well. So
You know it.
honorary half Canadian, I guess, if you honorary Canadian, thanks to Chelsea Green. Uh,
You remember that when Chelsea, what pronunciation is that? You remember when Chelsea Green was the Women's United States champion?
uh-huh.
I think Cardona posted things like, "We did it! We are the Women's United States champion." He proclaimed it. That's great.
And another person that's actually I'm actually really looking forward to, because this man apparently just doesn't age like Sting doesn't age. PCO, my goodness gracious! I was always kind of like skeptical about PCO until I saw him at the Rebel and in that hardcore match a couple years ago, and my goodness gracious, how in the heck is this guy still standing?
Well, I went with you all the way to, where was this? Chatham or Windsor? London. Sorry,
Yeah.
London, Ontario. And PCO was part of a tag match there too. I think Bully Ray and Scott D'Amore got involved at the end.
That's right.
Flaming table.
Uh-huh.
And PCO is just freaking nuts, man. Anyway, he's come a long way since his days against Bret Hart as Jean-Pierre Lafitte, the pirate.
Wow.
And before that as, Pierre of the Quebecers. By the way, if you've never Googled the theme song of the Quebecers back in the World Wrestling Federation days, you're missing out, man. It's just comedy gold. We're not the Mounties.
That's great. Oh, Jimmy. Anyway,
was it which Jimmy?
I don't know. Yeah, we'll leave that up to the fans to figure out.
That's right. That's right.
And of course, there's of course there's my verbal tick over there of saying Filipino gibberish after to accentuate the end of a joke. Anyway,
ECO, he's nuts. That's gonna be crazy with him there.
Yeah. Anyway, we are out of time here on the radio, so we got to sign up real quick. Thank you to Chico. Thank you to you, the listener. Follow us at Ringside_Heat, and we remember the things that you probably forgot.